Greetings, animation fans, and happy November. Yeah, Halloween is over, and this is the first video of November, by the way. So yeah, I've been wanting to do a Bladed Angel style video for a while. So yeah, Bladed Angel does have agreeable points in the car community, and he did list out some things that are really stupid, like SUVs and people buying them for a lot of trunk space that they don't need. Which I agree with. But animation fans are also not safe from having certain misconceptions about some things. So yeah, even animation fans can make up their own misconceptions. And believe me, I've been through a lot of these people. Especially on DeviantArt, which, yeah, has, in my opinion, the worst animation community. Well, the worst group of animation fans there are. Yeah, because a lot of them are toxic and, well, can't shut up about certain things they hate. Yeah, Twitter is a close second, but at least you'll stay away from those people. At least there's a lot more good people on Twitter than there are on DeviantArt. I've met some good animation fans on DeviantArt. In fact, I'm friends with some of them, like Wacky Dude 2003, Alex H 4070, Jekyll and Hyde channel, and several others. But let's be real, there are a lot of bad ones. And Facebook, well, same thing. It's not nearly as bad with the animation fans. And YouTube, even YouTube doesn't have as nearly as bad. Yeah, even the animation fans aren't nearly as bad on YouTube as they are on DeviantArt. In fact, DeviantArt is probably the worst for it. Which is why I brought down my list of 5 animation fan misconceptions. Yeah, these of course are ranked from least common to most common and downright toxic, so let's go! Alrighty, so number 5 on the list is, well, you should feed your cats a lot of milk because some cartoon told you to do so. Firstly, that's not true, and secondly, this is because of, well, cartoons not being known for their knowledge of animals. Yeah, especially back in the barnyard with Otis with an udder. Seriously, why'd you put an udder on Otis? That I do not know. Even Tannis Sweet 123 doesn't know that. But anyways, back in the old days, several kids who had cats gave them too much milk and they got sick to their stomachs. Yeah, it's okay to feed a cat milk because they like it, but don't give them too many. It's a treat. Milk is a treat for cats. If you give cats too much milk, they get sick to their stomachs. And of course, this is something that Mr. Enter elaborated on, and I definitely agree. Yeah, I do not like the fact that pets are being their own pets are being mistreated. Because you gotta treat your pets well. You gotta make sure they're healthy. I mean, they're your best friend, after all. So yeah, a misconception about cats that, of course, is not as common nowadays. But there's one misconception that is even more common that I have to talk about, so let's jump over to it. Eating a certain type of food gives you a superpower. Yeah, this is a common misconception that usually younger fans have. Well, there are some kids out there watching Popeye, and they eat spinach and they think it makes them really strong. But it doesn't. In reality, it doesn't actually do anything for them other than make them healthy. Yeah, and of course this also goes with a lot of foods in cartoons that the characters eat and give them some sort of abilities. Yeah, eating chili peppers doesn't make you breathe fire. And of course, throwing pepper onto a person's nose barely makes them sneeze in real life. Yeah, it's just cartoon logic, okay? And while we're at it, on the topic of food, yeah, eating mushrooms doesn't actually make you grow large like in Mario. Yeah, I learned that the hard way. And the same thing with spinach. You see, people think that if they eat mushrooms, they might become big and strong like Mario. And of course, it doesn't actually work that way. And there's also a misconception that milk makes you big and strong. Well, kinda true, except it doesn't actually work like in the advertisements. This is more of like a misconception in advertisements that try to make milk look good. And it's the same thing with cartoons that have food that give the characters some sort of abilities. It doesn't work like that in real life. So if you think eating spicy foods makes you breathe fire, or spinach makes you strong, or mushrooms make you grow like Mario, I hate to say this, but it doesn't work like that in real life, and when you grow older, you'll realize it. But now, on to a misconception that even older fans fall for. And I'm actually surprised that this still happens, so let's jump over to it. Flying cars are not any better than non-flying cars. Yeah, this is something that I learned with Bladed Angel. Don't get me wrong, Jetson's car is still cool. And the idea of flying cars is futuristic. It seems awesome. But in reality, it doesn't usually work that way. Yeah, the sad reality of having a flying car is that it's not much better than a car that goes on land. Flying cars existed since the 1950s. And the worst thing is that if you get a flying car, you have to rely on the maintenance of a car with the maintenance of an airplane. And you have to spend 15 minutes trying to talk to the control tower about taking off before you can go. And of course, there's also the fact that they're not any faster than normal cars. Yeah, they max out at 160 miles per hour. Yeah. Pretty sad, isn't it? But they're probably put some jet engines in the future. I don't know, but flying cars are more of like a niche thing now. Yeah, and of course, they don't have nearly as good range as normal cars do. Although that might be improved in the future. But yeah, this is a sad reality that we have with flying cars, and while flying cars might seem cool in fiction, in real life they just don't work as well. And yes, speed limits in the air are enforced as well. Yeah, the idea that people have is that when they go in the air they have no speed limit, but they still have to rely on speed limits in the air, because air traffic is controlled. And yes, you do still get traffic in the air. And of course, the reason why this is in the most common cartoon misconceptions video is because people thought that the idea of having a flying car in the Jetsons was amazing. Yeah, when they watch the Jetsons, they wish that they could have a flying car in the future. But sadly, they're not any faster than real cars, and this is the sad reality that flying cars have. And what about VTOLs, you might ask? Well, they still need a special heating pad for the runway, and helicopters need helipads. You see, VTOLs draw a lot of heat, and VTOLs need special heat-resistant pads, and if manufacturers were to make flying cars, imagine how many corners would be cut and how many deaths would occur if some people were to misuse a flying car. Yeah. It would be even worse than how we deal with cars now. Yeah, I know it's a sad reality, but flying cars are still pretty cool. It's something that we just have to give it time. But they'll probably forever remain as a toy for the rich and for the more experienced. There's a reason why flight schools exist. But now, on to another common misconception that I keep hearing from people who rage quit the Loud House fandom or quit the Loud House fandom. So, let's go. Yeah, this is a misconception that I do hear a lot, especially on DeviantArt. Yeah. Sibling fighting and violence against other siblings are considered to be mistreatment, and siblings don't fight in real life. Not true. Yeah, we can't control it, okay? Just like anything in real life, we can't control it. And it all depends on the personalities of the characters, so yeah. If I want to bring this up, I do want to bring up the fact that some characters, just like real families, have different personalities. And of course, in real life, siblings do fight and they do threaten each other. So, let's bring it down. You see, the reason why the Green family is not seen to be fighting as much as the Loud family is because of a few factors. Number one, it's a kids show and they can't be throwing haymakers and punches at each other all the time unless they animate a fight club, but even that is pretty hard to pull off sometimes. Number two, it's because of their personality and plot reasons. Number three, less people living in the household, and the fact that it's a healthier relationship. And number four, well, neither Cricket or Tilly were intended to fight, But they do act like jerks depending on which episode it is. And number 5, different target audiences. And this is something that some people, even Camilla Orr, completely disregard. Yeah, so let me explain, okay, the Loud family does fight because it's a bigger family. And they have different personalities. And of course, unlike Big City Greens, is aiming to have a realistic, a more realistic interpretation of how siblings work in real life. And of course, it's a bigger household. And fighting is expected to occur a lot more in the Loud household than the Green family household. It's a bigger family, and in real life, siblings do fight and threaten each other. Yes, I've been around siblings who do fight, but it's more sibling fighting. And while the Loud House does go to extremes, it definitely does still go to show that even siblings can fight in real life. No sibling relationship is perfect. Siblings sometimes fight against each other, they sometimes throw haymakers. Although, remove the haymaker part, but yeah, they sometimes do throw haymakers if it's in a more abusive household, but they still fight. And they go into arguments a lot, and they do threaten each other and do give out demands. And it's just like how the Loud family works. Yes, they sometimes do that stuff, but they all get along in the end, and they end up making up for whatever bad stuff they did do previously. Because that's how real life works. And the Loud sisters do redeem themselves, and eventually make up for whatever bad stuff that they did. And that's how the Loud House works. It's very different from Big City Greens. You have to keep that in mind. I'm not a fan of Big City Greens, but the Loud House is a very different beast to talk about. It's pretty much the same thing with Phineas and Ferb and Danny Phantom. Yes, they do. Yeah, Candace and her siblings, her brothers, and Danny and Jazz do bicker and argue, but the Loud House is supposed to have a more realistic take on how teen sibling relationships work. And it also depends on the personality of each character. Different families have different personalities. It's not rocket science, everyone. And it's not like a perfect relationship where no siblings fight in real life, because they do. There's even articles online of how to prevent sibling fights because it happens in real life. You see, siblings do fight in real life, but the Loud House still goes to extremes, and that's because it's a cartoon. Cartoons are expected to do that. And I'm sick and tired of people bringing up the excuse that siblings don't fight in real life. And that the Loud sisters are mean because they fight. And because they, use violence against each other. Even though it's normal sibling stuff in the Loud household. And it's just how they roll in real life. And they're not bad people because they throw haymakers and fight against each other. It's how they work in real life. It's how siblings work in real life. And that's why I enjoyed the Loud family's family dynamics a lot more than the Green family. Because it's closer to what I expect in real life sibling scenarios. And it's what some people don't understand. And God forbid we can't have siblings fighting. Yeah, it's sarcasm, by the way. But still, what's not sarcasm is me explaining that siblings fight in real life. And it's nothing new either. It's happened in shows like The Simpsons, and heck, even King of the Hill has an occasional sibling fight going on. Even if Luann is an adopted sibling. It's just how it works in real life, okay? It's not exactly like a perfect world. You have to know that, and that's one factor you have to keep in mind. That siblings do fight in real life, and they're not afraid to do so. You just have to make sure you do such stuff within the best interests of your sibling, or of your sister or brother. And I'm also tired of hearing the whole mean sister and nice sister trope. Even the Loud Sisters themselves question this trope. In fact, all of them can be nice and mean. Just like real life siblings, that's the whole point of the Loud House, is to be like real life. But it still does cartoon stuff though, and it doesn't take place in the real world. But still, that's one thing you have to keep in mind. Siblings do fight and threaten each other. It's not mistreatment, it's a way of life. What's actually mistreatment is torturing your own siblings. We would never do that. But sibling fighting is normal. It's normal. And I basically wanted to disprove this misconception. Because some people are glued to their own beliefs. And it's crazy. It just goes to show that you shouldn't listen to what other people say. You should always trust what's best for you. And on to the very last one. And I kid you not, this is the craziest one of them all. And it's even more retarded than this one, so let's go. Alrighty, so the very last misconception that cartoon fans have is, well, this show got this show canceled and ruined the whole network because of it. I see this a lot when people say that the Loud House got Harvey Beaks canceled and ruined Nickelodeon. I'm sick of it, okay? I'm sick of it. Some people just don't understand how this works. And I'm always frustrated that even people like Wyatt are believing this. You see, it has nothing to do with a certain show. Let me explain. Harvey Beaks has been cancelled because of the network executives, and it was the executives' decision to cancel the show. And not to mention, the creator of the show didn't want to continue it any further. This is usual practice for any show. And especially Nickelodeon. This is nothing new, and it's certainly nothing that the Loud House did. It started with Ren and Stimpy. You see, Ren and Stimpy was the biggest property that Nickelodeon had, and the creator of the show, John Krakowski, aka John K., got fired because of missed deadlines and creative differences and whatnot. So of course Bob Camp took over for the show, and because of that, it started the whole trend of shows that Nickelodeon doesn't see that has a lot of potential. They don't see that the show has a lot of potential, so they axe it within 2 or 3 seasons. And of course, Rugrats has also been over-aired because Nickelodeon saw potential in it and extended it way past its expiration date. I mean, it went on for 2004, and for a long time it was the longest running Nicktoon until SpongeBob beat it. Yeah, and when Nickelodeon sees potential, in a show, they milk it to death. They just see a great show, and it became popular, and they want to keep it around. And this is why the Loud House has been competing with SpongeBob. It had a great concept. It has a great concept. It's simple and easy to understand, aside from some people who still don't understand how siblings work in real life and have double standards on sibling relationships. And it's a show that pretty much anyone with common sense can relate to. And anyone with families that went for the same stuff as the Louds and the Casa Grandes. The show went on for 7 seasons, currently ongoing, because Nickelodeon want to extend it as much as they could, and it's been milked to death because kids love it. They don't consider their adult audience. They never considered feedback from their adult audience. They always listen to their target audience. That's the thing with Nickelodeon. And whatever show that Nickelodeon thinks that doesn't have potential, they cancel it preemptively. And this practice has been going on since the networks first aired. And they don't keep around the creators. They treat the creators as expendable. So yeah, it's something that is not new with the Loud House. It's been going on since Ren and Stimpy. Yeah, it's okay to hate or like the Loud House or SpongeBob, but you should do a fact check and check reality. And yeah, I do want to bring up some people saying the Loud House didn't save Nickelodeon. Because it's one of the arguments that I'm so sick and tired of hearing. Yeah, I do want to bring it up in another video. But yeah, those are 5 misconceptions of... Well, 5 misconceptions of cartoons that people keep bringing up. And yeah, even the animation community isn't immune to misconception. So yeah. What's your misconception that you have of cartoons? Let me know in the comments, and I'll catch you guys next time, and peace out. Actually, don't peace out, because, believe it or not, I do have some piece of bonus content. So yeah, let's go over to whatever bonus content I have. Well, it's bonus content time, and of course, I got this new flavor of Ben & Jerry's ice cream called The Tonight Dough, which is a reference to The Tonight Show, and it's supposed to have all sorts of cookie dough in it, so let's try it out and see what it's like. Yeah, it looks good. I usually like to eat Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Well, not every day, but occasionally. And yeah, another great flavor. Thumbs up right there. So yeah, it's a good idea. And well, yeah, it is actually pretty good. Yeah, if you got the money to spare, I'd highly recommend you to get a tub of this new flavor of ice cream, although it's not perfect, but it's still good. It gets a 9 out of 10, so yeah. Still pretty good, and of course, catch you guys next time, and peace out. Smaller channels are at risk, and every subscriber means a lot to them. Like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for the latest Racer Cinema Productions videos. And together, we can help drive the YouTube algorithm away from this channel, so that I don't succumb to the fate of other smaller channels getting defeated by the viewer-based algorithm. Thank you for watching. Catch you guys next time.